Hello, everyone. Welcome to our historical trauma presentation. My name is Debo Fashola. My partner for this project is Miss Molly Wheat, and we chose to analyze the genocide in Rwanda. The research article we found for this presentation is named Traumatic Episodes and Mental Health Effects in Young Men and Women in Rwanda, 17 years after the genocide. The Rwandan Genocide was the result of ethnic conflict between the Hutu majority and Tutsi minority. Hutu extremists took control of the country, calling for the killing of all Tutsis. An extermination campaign took place starting in the capital city of Kigali from April to July of 1994. So for 100 days, the Hutu murdered approximately 800,000 people, most of whom were Tutsi. To put that in context, that means 6 men, women, or children were murdered every minute of every hour. Or within the context of this presentation, that means 30 to 36 people would have died by the time I finish. Moreover, systematic rape was also used as a weapon of war. An estimated 250,000 to 500,000 women were the victims of sexual violence or assault. Moreover, 2 million people were displaced as a result of this genocide. They just basically fled because they were running for their lives. They didn't know what else to do. So the genocide definitely had a significant impact on Rwandans. Moreover, children and young adults in Rwanda experienced unprecedented numbers of mental health disorders as a result of the genocide. Moreover, notice I said children and young adults. Presently in Rwanda, 63% of the population is age 25 or below. Only 3% is over the age of 60. So that means basically the individuals or people who would be 26 to about 59 now, that range, who were alive during the time of the genocide or who disappeared. So basically middle-aged people people who would have been grandparents presently or who died during that conflict or turmoil. Moreover, exposure to violence is a major predictor of suicide attempts. So for these young people to have been exposed to that much violence and trauma, they're at a greater risk of suicide. For the purpose of the study, the researchers sought to explore the mental health effects of traumatic episodes experienced during the genocide period and how these impact the mental health of Rwandan men and women aged 20 to 35 years. Methods. The researchers conducted a cross-sectional study of 917 men and women aged 20 to 35 from 35 villages in the southern province area of Rwanda. Their response rate was 99.8%. The interview questionnaire composed of the MINI, which is the Mini International Neuropsychiatric Interview, and the Harvard Traumatic Questionnaire. They did make modifications in terms of cultural sensitivity and context, but they sought to research traumatic episodes, physical, sexual, and psychological partner violence, physical and mental health, and barriers to care. The analysis also used the Pearson's chi-square test and Fleischer's exact test used to calculate the prevalence of mental health disorders and exposure to traumatic episodes in the genocide period and in the individual's lifetime. The researchers found that mental health disorders are common among Rwandan survivors of the genocide, with rates twice as high among women than men. Moreover, the genocide period trauma experiences contribute to the current mental health conditions, including depression, PTSD, suicidality, and anxiety disorders. Moreover, general anxiety disorder was the most prevalent condition among all survivors. Men's mental health was affected more by exposure to physical violence during the genocide period. So men's mental health suffered witnessing the violence going on around them. Women's mental health was affected more by trauma exposures in their lives beyond the genocide period due to intimate partner/domestic violence. So women's mental health suffered more, not only because of the impact of the genocide, but because of repeated traumas after due to domestic violence. Poverty is an additional risk factor for mental disorders. And this is significant because among low-income countries, of which Rwanda is one, less than 1% of their health budget goes towards mental health or prevention. So in the context of this genocide, to have that many people suffering from PTSD, depression, suicidality, and anxiety disorder, and not have the staff or resources to treat it, many of these people in a lot of ways are holding on to these traumas longer than perhaps they otherwise would have. Recovery seems to take longer, if they even recover at all. A legacy of trauma, implications for future study. Additional studies should explore intergenerational transmission effects. Because throughout the study, the researchers weren't quite sure if the individuals who are 20 to 35 years now are passing on that trauma to their children. Moreover, community needs. As I mentioned, having less than 1%, there's no resources for prevention. So research needs to be done for programs that can perhaps expand that, bring in more mental health professionals to help, and bring in perhaps maybe programs that can fight against gender-based violence. Mental health care and education in low-income countries is also needed desperately. I would like to close with this quote from Immaculée Ilibagiza, who was a survivor of the genocide. And she says, Rwanda can be a paradise again, but it will take the love of the entire world. And that is as it should be, for what happened in Rwanda happened to us all. Humanity was wounded by the genocide. To conclude, I'd like to thank you for watching this presentation. Me and Molly welcome any questions and comments you have, and we hope to hear from you. Bye-bye. Thank you.